The sound of eternity. The sound knocks upon my soul like a wonderful deep melody, a low-pitched rumble resonating far off in the distance. My body is launched forward, but my memories are pushed back to find themselves in time. Every thought splits apart and becomes clear to me. There is nothing to worry about. I close my eyes and I hear a faint voice announce, "Lift off." I'm strapped down inside a blue crystalline space shuttle. It hasn't moved from its launch pad yet, but I can feel it vibrating. The people outside are watching me. It's going to be fine, Ven, I assure myself. I watch as the tip of the shuttle pierces gray, evanescent clouds. The front window of the ship reflects swirling glints of light back at the visible sun, and I begin to feel warm. The afternoon sky shines with snow, and a powerful wind leans heavily upon the ship. There is nothing to worry about. The shuttle isn't going anywhere, at least not physically. My wife, Tara, watches the shuttle flicker in and out of existence, clasping her hands and pressing them against her cold lips. She is miles away, but I can feel her next to me. I see her waving goodbye with awe-stricken eyes, tears strolling down her pale face. Her image engulfs me with endless emotions, and I'm jolted back into my seat with extreme G-force. The night before, I made sure to store my memories in a small metallic box. I left it in Tara's possession. She attached it to her necklace and wore it that day. Kissing me goodbye, she whispered.
"These won't be enough."
Forming a smile, I replied, "I'll bring back more." Back inside the ship, I begin to see things. Hallucinations perhaps, but they seem so real. The ship's interior begins to glow in electric colors and fickle reflections. The air around me begins to look digitized and liquid. The roaring sound of the shuttle seeps down my throat, and as I try to clear it, I feel vibrations slip past my tongue. My mind races with powerful emotions. I am filled with happiness, sadness, dread, euphoria, all simultaneously. Parts of my body are detached and reattached continuously as the shuttle expands. The stretch of space in front of me closes in on itself, and I'm left inundated with visions of Tara's face. "Is this it?" I ask, lips moving without utterance. No, it can't be. I'm still moving. Time skips across the room as the ship lets out a second thundering roar. This time, the sound is deafening. I'm no longer in control of the ship or my own mind. My reality begins to fade. No, this isn't over yet. Suddenly, I see an orb of light shine out from the darkness. It moves closer and I'm able to examine it. My body's increased gravitational load converges with my psychological state, and I'm left with very few words to describe anything. My limbs feel so heavy that I can hardly move. I conjure the strength to move my lips, but my utterance is once again inaudible. What exactly is in front of me? I resort to thoughts, as they're much easier to grasp. I observe what seems to be a singularity, and I feel an extreme sense of peace wash over my body, like warm water over an open wound. My vision shakes as though the shuttle were moving again. Within that interval of time, I begin to feel an overwhelming sense of sadness. Emotions of doubt, loneliness, inferiority, and antipathy poke at my ego, like needles sliding into soft gelatin. I realize what these emotions are and what they desire. They have all been denied their freedom to belong, to express, to translate, to share. They have come to me collectively in hopes that I will understand. As I accept this suffering, a new world is revealed to me. It holds a new consensus of reality, where these once negative emotions are no longer prohibited and constricted. The passing of time is heartbreaking as I'm split between two different realities. One in which the love of my life resides, and the other where the love of the world coincides. Like a spaceship re-entering the atmosphere, I begin to slip back to my normal state of mind. It's an extremely slow and exhausting transition, as if I'm falling through a vortex of infinite emotions within an interwoven fractal fantasy. I'm set back down, only to find myself in a strangely familiar place. Why am I here? This isn't how I imagined it to be. My mother picks me up from the ground and strokes my hair. Time is but a faint concept as I stare into her eyes. She blinks galaxies into existence, and I am given the motherly love I had once known. I'm set back down, and the frame of my mother shifts out of existence. A transparent glow is left where she once was, and I begin to cry. I outstretch my baby hands to try and reach for her, but she has already become a wisp in time. I wonder where she went. I wonder why she had to leave. A memory crosses my mind. This was the first time I dreamt of becoming an astronaut. On my journey back to my old body, I feel everything shimmer and radiate. It's as if I were moving through a gaseous formation, such as a pulsar through a galaxy. Everything becomes prime color, cranked up to its fullest potential, crisp and vivid like the edges of my mind. I close my eyes, only to awake from my childhood experience. Looking around, I feel a sense of celebration upon my arrival, but there is no one around me. Faint red lights flicker from the shuttle's dashboard, lighting up small corners of my vision. I feel a deep change in my world, but I know that my journey isn't over yet. I unstrap myself from my seat and float towards the shuttle's window. I see Earth veiled behind stars, followed by galaxies, and finally, what seems to be the entire universe. Strangely, Earth feels like a distant memory, remote in both time and place. In a sudden onslaught of apprehension, I become aware that I am no longer staring at my world, but instead, the world I had imagined during liftoff. This feeling of distance is no longer brought upon by space and time, but by the complete loss of love for Earth. Was this shuttle not meant to fold space-time, to reach other galaxies? I ask, curiosity perpetuating itself inside my brain, transforming the hunk of flesh into an endless arrangement of gears and pinions, a mechanical device of cognitive energy with trillions of precision gears, all generating my consciousness. In my growing anxiety, I quickly strap myself back into the cockpit seat and turn on the shuttle. It shakes, causing a few crackling sounds before giving way to its smooth engine. I blast forward, arriving at Earth's atmosphere in a matter of seconds. Fire begins to ravage the exterior of the shuttle, and I'm blinded by the flames even as I close my eyes. I break through, reaching mushroom clouds that begin to morph in kaleidoscopic patterns. In my confusion, I reassure myself that it's only a pre-planned sequence of the journey. I reach the surface only to find the world I once knew utterly transformed. My eyes wander the surface of mountains, buildings, and trees, but I can't fully grasp the changes that have occurred. Every image of every object is lined up one after the other, like film shown through an overhead projector. I feel as though I'm crafting symbolic patterns through multiple different perceptions. I attempt to walk, but the ground below me splits into two-dimensional layers of light, creating a space-time in which I had never taken a step, and another in which I had taken too many. I stumble into a white building, discovering memory boxes placed upon areas where humans would normally stand. I gravitate towards the nearest one before looking around and asking, "What is this strange place? Where did everyone go? Why am I here?" Suddenly, I see the box open on its own, like a flower unfolding itself in response to physical stimuli. A liquid sphere rises from its position, containing infinite layers of a dream. I hear a faint, familiar voice flourish out from the space above it. I quickly ask, "Is someone there?"
Yes, I'm here, Ben. It's me, your wife, Tara.
Tell me what's going on.
You've reached the singularity, Ben. This is the final version of your existence, where your memories of every dimension are stored.
Do you mean this is where I'll go one day?
No, you are already here. You have already traveled here many times before. This is just another version of your experience.
What? Why? What's the purpose of this? This wasn't what they told me would happen.
And who are they, Ben? Did you ever question where you were getting your information from?
Yeah, I was told by...
No, Ben. I don't mean them. I mean to ask, where did it come from?
I pause, bewildered by a question. Slowly, the answer approaches my mind like a gorgeous shimmering light. It envelops me with sublimity. Consciousness!
Correct. This is why you're here, Ven. You've come here to understand that you're just a layer of your own primal self, a memory of your own final stage of consciousness. This is where you become one with eternity.
I soak in her words before glancing to the side in a slight, doubtful manner. Will I ever see you again?
Of course you will. I'm still back home, holding your memory box in my hands.
What will become of this place? Will this version of you stay here forever?
There is no forever here, Ven. Eternity does not have an extent of time. It is simultaneous.
Then how am I here? How did I arrive here? How is this happening right now?
It's not happening in time, my love. It's just a memory that has dwelt within you all along. You are just awakening it again.
I fall to my knees as I hear her words vibrate through my body. I am overwhelmed. I tell myself, this is just a dream, but I feel myself lying. I feel the truth around me more than I feel it inside me. This is the realm of eternity, not one governed by an entity or one in which paradise is found, but rather a place where anything is possible and everything has been made possible. Every object around me begins to shift through various spatial dimensions, some 3D, others 4D, some even mimicking the complexity of fractals, ever changing through the infinite layers of perception. I soak in as much beauty as I can before speaking again. What else should I know?
What you already know, Ven. Never give up on your dreams and desires. Rules are just an illusion. There is no actual proper way to live. There is only life.
When will I transcend to the state of consciousness?
You already have.
I am engulfed with all of my possible realities, given the knowledge of 1 trillion lives in one instance before reverting to my original self. I witness every point of every possibility coalesce into one brilliant orb. I open my arms to embrace it, and I begin to fall through eternity. I feel my wife's words storing themselves within me as a dormant memory, waiting to be imagined through life. Tara, I need to know something before I leave.
Yes, my love?
Is there anything beyond this?
Of course not. There is nothing beyond eternity. It is the zenith of everything because it encompasses everything. Anything that is imagined is possible because it exists. If it didn't exist, it wouldn't be able to be imagined.
My mind forms into a small map, a very small representation of a very large idea. I suddenly discover that it is, in fact, foldable and that it has been folded for eternity. There is no sensation of time at all. Nothing is linear, and my ideas seem to fly at me in impossible intervals. Suddenly, I begin to think about nothing. Mentally, this is an impossible thing to achieve, but for some reason, my mind caves in on the concept. I feel every fiber of my brain disconnect, neurotransmitters ceasing to travel across the circuits of my awareness. I become a scrape of discarded thought, immensely filled with negativity and loneliness. I realize that if I continue to feel like this, I will destroy myself. I reawake, gasping for air and slamming my hands down upon the ethereal ground. I peer up again, my eyes reflecting the brilliance of the singularity. I retain my strength and utter a question to save myself from drowning in my own curiosity. What about nothing? Where does that go?
It doesn't go anywhere. It always stays a part of everything. Nothing lies dormant between intervals of all possible outcomes. There is nothing but perfect symmetry, in which you are a part of.
So, all of this, everything that I've experienced and will experience, has already happened?
Not to you, my love. Your life is but a dormant memory, waiting to be experienced.
A light engulfs me, and I am catapulted back with extreme speed towards the vanishing point of my universe. Floating in what seems to be nothingness, I perceive the universe as a modulation of a single oscillating wave that is no permanent or physical reality. Every cell within me conductively attunes, one by one, to the true vibration of existence, transforming my body into a vessel of pure energy. I see the blue crystallization of matter around me, perhaps the recovered remnants of my shuttle. I feel as though I am within a sentient prism. All spatial perception seems to unfold itself into a gravity well of ineffable density that is like floating on the event horizon of a black hole. I realize that I am just a prudent observer to nothing less than a multi-dimensional miracle. Drifting forth on my journey, I hear the sound of eternity. It's the voice of my wife, echoing across the omniverse, finding its way back to me. She whispers to me,
Breathe.
"The word is pure and manifested truth." This verbalized concept materializes into a symbol of the noetic dreamscape every living species treads. And so I listen and breathe and awake back into my shuttle. I quickly unbuckle myself and dart towards the exit. I jump out and run towards her, feeling as if simultaneously I'm running away and towards my experiences, connected only by the love they share. We embrace and melt into each other. It's nightfall and the snow seems to have gone away. Over a blanket, I wrap my arms around my beloved wife and we muse about the beyond. My wife falls asleep and I'm left in a solitude that allows me to think back on my journey. A rush of sublimity crosses over me and I realize that we are longing as humans for contact, any contact, with ourselves and those whom we love. Contact is so elusive, yet seemingly sufficient for us to live on. Every touch and word from another is a precious singularity, never to be repeated, but only diminished by a retelling and remembering and inevitably fading away back to the sound of eternity.